Hello everyone, my name is Mayank Pahwa. I'm going to take your session on mathematics today. So today we are going to have a class on probability, class 10th mathematics. The same chapter is there in class 9th mathematics also. So it's my humble request, kindly please have a quick glance of class 9th mathematics probability to have a basic conceptual understanding which we have studied in that class, to have a better understanding of all the concepts in class 10th. So let's come towards the next point. These are the subtopics which we are going to cover in this particular chapter. Probability definition, terms related to probability. So all the important terms here, which are basically nothing, all the important concepts here which we are going to study. Then different types of questions on basically the probability here. So these are the subtopics which we are going to cover. So let's start the topic here. I'm considering you as a very layman person. So first of all, let's understand what do you mean by probability. This we have already studied in class 9. But here again, I am having a quick glance of everything. Let's have a basic understanding that what do you mean by probability? Probability is basically, in mathematical terms, if I say, it is a quantitative measures of certainty. Now, in general sense, the probability of something means the chance of its occurrence. Now, first of all, understand this word in very general sense. Means the chance of occurrence of something is called probability. Now, chance of occurrence, let us say for example, if I say the probability of raining today is very high. So if I say the chances of rain is very high here, then definitely that means the probability of raining here today is very high. That means the chance of occurrence of rain is very high. So high occurrence chance means high probability. And if I have a low occurrence chance of something, that means I have a low probability. So if I say the probability of raining today is very low, it means that rain may not occur at all. So this is the meaning of probability in very general sense, means occurrence, chances of occurrence, right? So it means in mathematical terms, it means quantitative measures of certainty here. So this is a basic definition of probability here. Now let's move towards the terms related to probability. Let's understand all the terms, because these terms are basically going to used in your questions when you're solving the questions of probability here. So these are the basic terms you must have a very good understanding. First of all, understand what do you mean by an event. Event means occurrence of an outcome is an event. Occurrence of an outcome. Now what do you mean by occurrence of an outcome here? Let us say for example, if I toss a coin, right? So a coin are having only two faces here. One is the head, one is a tail, right? Tail side here. So whenever we toss a coin, it will either give a head or it will either give a tail. That we all know, right? So if you toss a coin, it will either give a head or it will give a tail. So these two are basically are called the outcomes. These are called what are called outcomes. So occurrence of an outcome is an event. Now, what is an event here? Event means I am tossing a coin here. So if I am tossing a coin, this is an event. Then after tossing a coin, it will result either in head or it's in tail. That means this is an occurrence of an event. Whether this occurrence will come in head or it will come in tail. So occurrence of an outcome. Outcome will be come in two form, either in head or in tail. So this is the meaning of an event, right? So event is nothing. Event is an occurrence of an outcome. Occurrence of an outcome. So I hope you get this point. So because you need to understand the questions, right? You need to understand what is an event. Then if you understand what is an event, then you're able to get what will be the outcome of that particular event. Like here, the tossing a coin is an event, and the outcome is it will come in head or it will come in tail. So next word is called experiment. Experiment here means an action or operation which can produce some well-defined results. So same example if I'll take about the tossing a coin here, I know that whenever I toss a coin, it will lead in head or it will lead in tail. I'll leave about other possibilities. Let's say if I toss a coin in, in a area where the lot of sand is here. Okay, in that particular area, the coin may not fall towards one side. So we are leaving all these assumptions here. Let's have a plane surface, right? So an action or operation which can produce some well-defined results here. Now, if I toss a coin, I know that the well-defined results are what? It will definitely results either in head or in tail. I know this either of the two will come. That is for sure. So this is a well-defined result. So this is called what? Experiment. So we have learned about event. We have learned about experiment. Now come to move towards the next point. Next point is called random experiment. So here this is called a random experiment. Now what do you mean by a random experiment here? Random experiment is one in which all the possible results are known in advance, but none of them can be predicted with certainty. Now what do you mean by this? Let's break this definition here. It is the one which all the possible results are known. Let us understand with the help of one example. Again, I am taking one example, tossing a pair of coin. So if I toss a pair of coin, or you can say a single coin. First of all, let's say I toss a single coin. I know whenever I toss a coin, it will result in head or it will result in tail. That is for sure. But I don't know the prediction, how many times the head will come, how many times the tail will come. Let's say I put it for around 4 times or 5 times, but I don't know how many times the head will come or tail will come. So I know the results are known. So possible results are known to me in advance, head or tail. But I can't predict with certainty and for how many times head will come and how many times the tail will come. That is for sure. It must satisfy two conditions. It has more than one possible outcome. Yes, the outcomes are two here, head or tail. Or let us say, for example, if I toss a pair of coin, let's take this example, tossing a pair of coin means I have two coins here, 1 and 2. So in one coin, head and tail feature is here. Then this coin also head and tail feature is here. Now let us say, for example, if I toss a pair of coins together, let us say, what are the cases possible? Let's say on first coin, when I toss the first coin, the head has come, right? The head is there. Second coin also the head has come, right? So this is for the first coin, this is for the second coin, head and head. Then both for both the coins, head come. Let's say for the next possibility is what? On both the coins, tail side will come. Yes, this is one possibility. Now let's say third possibility. On one coin, head is come, one coin tail is come. Or one more possibility, one coin tail is come or one coin head is come. So these are the four possibilities here when we toss a pair of coin. But we know these are the possible results. So this is a random experiment. Why? Because we have so many outcomes here. Here we have these four outcomes, right? So random experiment is one in which all the possible results are known. We know these are the results which are going to come, either head, head, tail, tail, head, tail, tail, head. But none of them can be predicted with certainty. We don't know that certainty, right? So it must satisfy two conditions. That's a very, very important point. It has more than one possible outcomes. Yes, it has more than one possible outcomes. It is not possible to predict outcome in advance, right? That means we cannot predict outcome in advance. We don't know whether two heads will come for the first time, either two tail will come for the first time, either one head or one tail will come, or one tail and one head will come. So we don't know about anything in advance that what will come, but we don't know definitely, we don't know among all these outcomes one will definitely come, that is for sure. So this is about a call and random experiment. So in this chapter, this concept is going to be used in almost every question here, right? maximum questions we are going to use this concept, random experiments. So understand it, right? And the next word we are going to read here is called outcome. Outcome, as we know in the general sense, also the result of something, right? That is called outcome. Here, the result of this experiment is called outcome. So let us say if I toss a pair of two coins, the result has come head and head. So this is called an outcome, right? This is called an outcome of that experiment. So I hope you get this point. So this is we have learned about the random experiment here. Now let's move towards a word called trial. See, in the class 9th, you have used this word because in the class 9th, we have used a concept called empirical probability. In this chapter, we are using a concept called theoretical probability. So again, it's my request, kindly please have a quick glance of class 9 concepts which I have studied already, which I am not going to discuss it here because you have already studied that in your previous classes. So go through that class. Let's have a basic idea. Then you are able to understand the concepts here in a much better way because you are going to link the concepts, right? So again, but here I'm using the word trial again for you. Just have a basic understanding because it is required when an experiment is repeated under several conditions. Sorry, under similar conditions, and it does not give the same result each time, but may result in any one of the several possible outcomes. The result is called a trial. Now, what do you mean by it? Let us say I toss a coin 50 times. Then one toss of a coin is called trial. Why? Let us say, let's match this example with this definition. When an experiment is repeated. Now here I have applying one experiment. What is that experiment? I am tossing a coin. This is called experiment here, right? And this experiment is repeated, right? And how many times? 50 times. So it is repeated. And it does not give the same result each time. So it is very obvious. Let us say for first time when you toss a coin, let's say head comes. Next time, let's say again head come. Next time tail come. Next time head come. We don't know. Maybe the next time again head come. So we don't know about the result each time, right? But may result in any one of the several possible outcomes. The result is called trial. Yes, that's fine. So this is a simple thing. So trial means you are repeating an experiment, n number of times here. Here, let's say for example, I'm repeating it for 50 times, and I don't know the result because, and that is for sure, it does not give me the same result each time. Because same result means, let's say I know that every time head will come, every time tail will come. No, it's not possible. Anytime head will come, anytime tail will come. We don't know about it. But we don't know, but we know very well that these are the several possible outcomes. Here the outcomes are head or tail. We know that between head and tail anyone will come, that is for sure. So this is about a trial here which we have already discussed in class 9th. So let's have our next point is called elementary events. Elementary event here means the possible outcomes of an experiment are called its elementary events here. So there is nothing like that. Let's say for example on tossing a pair of coins. Just now I got it, I explained you here when we toss a pair of coins here. Let's say we have two coins here. Coin number 1, coin number 2. So both have head and tail. This also have head and tail. Now the possible outcomes of an experiment are called its elementary events. Now we are using the word possible outcomes. Now here, what are the possible outcomes here? Let's say first coin again head has come, second coin head has come. This is one outcome. Next when we toss a pair of coin, let's say on both the coins tail has come. The next outcome, one head or one tail will come, and next outcome tail and head will come. So these are the various outcomes when we toss a pair of coins. So these all are called the possible outcomes, right? One this is the possible outcome, this is the possible outcome, this can be a possible outcome, this can be a possible outcome when we toss a pair of coin. So each possible outcome is called an elementary event. This is one elementary event. Let's say elementary event as E. Let us say this is called E1, this is called E2, this is called E3, this is called E4. So these all four are nothing. These all four are the elementary events. That's the point. So I hope you get this here. So here we have four elementary events. So elementary events are nothing, all the outcomes. One outcome means one elementary event. Two outcome means two elementary event. That's it. Now next very important point, he says the sum of the probabilities of the elementary events of an experiment is 1, right? So if we add the outcomes, sum of all the probability, these are elementary events, if I add, right? So here probability of E1, probability of E2 plus probability of E3 plus probability of E4. So if I add the probabilities of all the experimental events, it will always come as 1. So that is for sure. So probability of of all the outcomes when we add upon it, that will come what? 1. That will come what? 1. So that's a point out here. So these outcomes are said to be equally likely. This word is very important, equally likely. This is word is used in the new concept here, which we are going to learn here in this particular class 10th, that is called theoretical probability. So equally likely outcomes are that outcomes where the chance of outcomes has the same, where each outcome has the same chance of happening. Let us say, for example, if I toss a single pair of coin, I know one single pair of coin. Sorry for that. So I know the one single pair of coin, right? Either it will result in head, either it will result in tail. So these outcomes are said to be equally likely if each outcome has the same chance of happening. I know has the same chance of happening. If I toss a single pair of coin, the both have an equal chance. Head also have an equal chance of coming. Tail also have an equal chance of coming. So this is an equally likely event. This is very obvious. So on tossing on tossing a single coin, both have equal chance of coming. It can result in head or it can result in tail. So that's a point, right? This is very obvious. So this event is called an equally likely event. Equally likely event. So I have used this word. I will again explain this word on the next point. On the point, it will come. This concept will come again. I'll explain it again how dear. So this is. I hope you have understand about the elementary events. So all the outcomes are individually known as elementary events, and when we add all the outcomes, when we add the probability of all the outcomes, we'll get 1, right? The sum of all the probabilities of elementary events are 1. Very important point. It is always going to help you out here in probability. Very important. That means the sum of all the probabilities is 1, maximum 1, right? Basically, it lies between 0 and 1. That's the point. But here, with respect of elementary events, if I add everything, it will get 1. I'll show you here in the next point. Let's say, for example, now we are going to discuss about the compound event. What do you mean by compound event? See, the event associated to a random experiment is called a compound event. So the event associated to a random experiment is called compound event if it is obtained by combining two or more elementary events. So when we have two or more elementary events combining together, this is called an compound event. And just now we have discussed what is elementary event. Elementary events are nothing, all the possible outcomes. That means two or more elementary event means two or more possible outcomes. So whenever we are using some experiment, we are applying some random experiment in which more than two or more outcomes are there, two or more elementary events are there. So that event is called what? Compound event, right? Same example which you have taken earlier on pairing a two pair on tossing a two pair of coins. This is nothing a compound event because we have different number of outcomes, means different number of elementary events we have. One more example I take here on throwing a dice. Event of getting an odd number is a compound event. Yes, you know that whenever you throw a dice, you have See, you can say a dice or you can say a die, right? In NCERT, they would use a word called die here. We know that die or dice have 6 faces here. We know this very well. It has what? 6 faces. So let us say, for example, I use like this, right? So we know that 6 faces are there: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So six, we know that these are the 6 faces of a die. Now we know we want event of getting odd number is a compound event. Now here we know that whenever we throw a dice, either 1 will come on the front side, either 2 will come. Like here, when I toss a coin, either head will come, either tail will come. Now in the similar sense, if I throw a dice, let's say 1 will come, that's again become an event. Let's say 2 will come, so the elementary event means one outcome. Let's say 2 will come, there's a chance that 3 will also come, chance that 4 can also come, 5 can also come, 6 can also come. So these all are elementary events, right? So we have chances any of these numbers can come, right, on throwing a dice. So we want an event of getting an odd number. Odd numbers are here 1, 3 and 5, right? So 1, 3 and 5. So event of getting an odd number is a compound event. Why? Because these are three. See, this is elementary event number 1, elementary event number 2, elementary event number 3, elementary event number 4, elementary event number 5, elementary event number 6. So these are the 6 elementary events involved here. Why 6 elementary events? Because these are the 6 possible outcomes that can become on throwing a dice, and each outcome is called elementary event. So here he says clearly, event of getting an odd number is a compound event. Why? Because let's say here the odd number are what? 1, 3 and 5. So there are 3 odd numbers here. That means 3 elementary events are there, E1, E3 and E5. 1, 3 and 5. And each elementary event is an outcome, right? Because here we have 2 or more elementary events, here 2 or more elementary events, and we combine together, it becomes event of getting an odd number. When we combine this, we get event of getting an odd number. Yes, and the combination of these two elementary events are called what? Compound event. I hope you get this point here, right? So next again, equally likely events. Just now we have discussed the word equally likely events. Again, let's say again we have a quick glance of it. Events are said to be equally likely if none of them is expected to occur in preference to the others. Just now I said you with the help of example on tossing a coin. When I toss a coin, either results in head or it results in tail. So both have a chance, right? Both have a fair chance, right? Equal chance here. Head can also come or tail can also come. So 50-50 chance are here, right? Now next, let's have one more example here. I've taken this example from NCERT. Let's say example number 2 here. The baby is born. It is a boy or a girl. Is it an equally likely event? Yes, it is an equally likely event. A baby is born when let's say a baby is born. So we have both the chances. Equal chances are here. It can be a boy or either it can be a girl. So we have an equal chance, right? So that's the point out here. So we cannot be predicted earlier. So we have an equal chance either it results in a boy or it results in a girl. So it is an equally likely event. Example number 1. So a trial is made to a solution. The solution is right or wrong. Yes, we have made one solution. So it can be a right or it can be a wrong. So again, we have a equally likely events. These both are examples of what? Equally likely events. So I hope you have understand this word equally likely event, because in random experiment we usually use this equally likely events, right? So here this is the word called experimental or empirical probability. The same word, this is a concept which we have learned already in class 9. So I am believing that you know this very well, right? So if you have not studied in the class 9 properly, go the class 9 chapter here. Let's have a quick glance of it, then try to understand it. then link with the chapter concepts in the class 10th. You'll have a very good understanding of probability. So experimental or empirical probability, I'm again repeating the definition here. Not going to discuss in detail because we have already discussed in class 9th. The probability that is based on the observation of an experiment is called experimental probability or empirical probability. Means it's nothing, it is based on the observations of experiments. We have done some experiment. On in that experiment, we have certain observations. On that observations, we have produced some probability. And this probability is nothing the number of trials in which the event happened divided by the total number of trials. That's a basic definition, mathematical definition. So these probabilities are based on the result of actual experiment. So they are only estimates. We may get different probabilities for the same event in different experiments. What is mean by this? I have taken the example, just now before only I have used the word called trial. I'll try to explain you. So this trial is used in this empirical probability definition. We have understand the concept here. Let's say I have tossed a coin, right? There we have used one example, right? Let's say we have tossed a coin 50 number of times. I know that the coin can have a head, it can have a tail. So we may get different probabilities for the same event in different experiments, right? So trial is something when we are, when we are using it many number of times, and on the basis of that times we are having some observations because we are actually implying some experiment here. So this is the basic point here. So see, the point here is, so I'm not going to get in detail in this right now because we have already discussed in class 9. So let's use this new concept called theoretical probability. This is the main idea in class 10th probability here. So theoretical or classical probability here, very important. See, let's start it with the help of definition here. The number of outcomes favorable to E divided by total number of possible outcomes, where the outcomes of an experiment are equally likely. That's why equally likely word is very important, which we are going to use in almost every question in this here. Now, I have explained this already equally likely with you. Now, number of outcomes favorable to E. E means here nothing, it's an event. It's an event. And total number of outcomes. Total number of outcomes. So let's take some example. How do I analyze it? How do I analyze this? Let us say, for example, again I'll take like this. Let's say, for example, here, I toss a coin, single coin. So it may result in head, it may result in tail. So outcomes are nothing like equally likely here. These are the outcomes of equally likely. So it may result in head or it may result in tail. Now, what is an event? Event means I toss a single coin. This is called an event. So this is, let's say, event is E here. I toss a coin. Now, total number of possible outcomes. Possible outcomes are head or it can be tail. So there are two possible outcomes. This is nothing, total number of outcomes. Total number of outcomes. Now next is on the numerator side we have number of outcomes favorable to E. Favorable to E. Now we want, let's say for example, the question here is, what is the chances of getting a probability of head? So my question here is, what is the probability of getting a head when we toss a coin? So now the event become this. Event become this. I need to find a probability of getting what? Head. Of getting a head. Probability of this particular event. What is this? So what is the probability of getting a head when we toss a coin? So we know that probability of getting a head here is, there are two outcomes, two. Total outcomes are two. So probability of getting a head is what? 1. Head is what? 1, because Either we have either head when we toss a coin, either head will come or either tail will come. We know that there are 50-50 chances. So head is one outcome, tail is another outcome. So chances of getting head is what? 1, and total outcomes are what? 2. So these are the, on the numerator we have an outcome favorable to event E. Now what is the event here? The chances of getting a head, chances of getting a head. This is what an event becomes, right? So I hope what I am saying we are able to get it here. So in this way we are able to find the theoretical probability here. Very, very simple. When we just solve some questions, you are able to get very, very easily. Now let's understand some special events, very, very important. Number first is impossible event or null event. An event having zero probability of occurrence is called an impossible event. So event having zero probability. What is the probability of getting a number less than 7 in a single throw of die? So we know that whenever we throw a die, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are numbers which are basically going to print on die here. So either it will come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we never seen a number 7 here, right? We know we wanted what is the probability of getting a number less than 7 in a single throw of die. Just one second. Okay. See, I think this question is not relevant to this particular event, impossible event or null event. So I'm changing this question for you because this question is for this particular event, right? So this is by mistake, it has been come out here. So no issues. I'll explain the one new question for you. You need to find the probability. Let's say you need to find a probability of getting a number. I will not say less than 7. I'll say greater than 8. I'll say greater than 8. Or you can say greater than 7, or you can say greater than 6 in a single throw of die. Now you only tell me, is it possible to find a number which is greater than a whenever we throw a die? Whenever you throw a die, it will either come 1, it will come 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. But is it possible you can get more than 8? No, it's not possible because there is no number more than 6 on a die. So it is not possible to get a number greater than 8 in a single throw of die. So what is the probability of it? So probability, just now we find it here. What is the probability? We are using theoretical concept in this chapter. All the questions are going to solve with this theoretical concept. What is the definition here? Number of outcomes favorable to E divided by total number of outcomes. First of all, decide the total number of outcomes here. Total number of outcomes, it can come 1, it can come 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So total number of outcomes are what? 6. That is for sure. Now, what is an event here? Event means we need to find the probability of getting a number greater than 8. We need to find this. So, what are the, now when you find number of outcomes favorable to E, is there any outcomes which is possible, which is favorable to this event? No, there is no outcome because there is no number which is greater than 8 which can be come on throwing a die. It is not possible. So the total outcome is what? 0. So this outcome favorable to this event is what? 0. So 0 upon 6 is nothing, that is called 0. So this probability is what? 0. I hope you get this point. So whenever the probability is 0, this is called an impossible event or null event. So event having a 0 probability of occurrence is called an impossible event. So I hope you get this point. Now next here is the sure or certain event. An event having a probability of 1 is called a sure event. And event E is a number PE such that this. So just now we have taken one example, impossible event. In this event we get the probability 0. And sure event is that the probability is 1. This is, but that means that the event will definitely will held, right? That's why the probability is 1. So very important point here is probability of an event always lies between 0 and 1. Always. This is a very important point. It will lies between 0 and 1. It was going to help you a lot. So always remember this point. And one point is this you need to remember, and one more point just now we have studied that sum of probabilities of all the empirical outcomes, right? All the empirical outcomes is 1, right? Is 1. Just now we have studied out here previously. So these 2 points very important we have discussed now. Now let's take this for the sure event. What is the probability of getting a number less than 7 in a single throw of die? Yes. So definition says first of all denominator what will come? Total number of outcomes, and we need to find the probability of getting a number less than 7. So less than 7 means what? Either it can come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First of all, we decide the total number of event, total number of outcomes. We know that on throwing a die, whenever we throw a die, total number of outcomes are possible, but 6. Either it can come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So we need to find a probability of getting a number less than 7. So less than 7 implies here means this is the event here, right? So event, we need to find an event where we need to find a number less than 7. So these all are the events possible which are favorable to E because all are less than 7. So total number of outcomes favorable to E is but 6. Why? Because 1 can also come, 2 can also come, 3 can also come, 4 can, 5 can and 6 can. Because they all are less than 7. So we have in the numerator we have find the number of outcomes favorable to event T divided by the total number of outcomes, right? So probability has come what? 1, and wherever the probability will come 1, this is called a sure or certain event. So I hope you get this point. So and probability always lies between 0 and 1 for individual event. For individual event the probabilities lie between 0 and 1, and for all when we add all the outcomes, when we add the probability of all the elementary events, it will always come to 1. So these are the 2 important points we have discussed along with the certain important definitions here. Let's come towards one more very important point that is called a complementary event. It will also going to become in this chapter very important. Now, what do you mean by complementary event? Understand it have with some examples, or right, it's going to be used out here. Events that are mutually exclusive of each other is called complementary event. Let us say, for example, if I say I need, let's say, for example, if I say here, I'm throwing a die, I'm throwing a die, single die. So I know that either it will come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let us say, if I say I have one event, I need to find an event, probability of an event for a number greater than 4, greater than 4. So I know that either it will come 5 or it will come 6. Greater than 4 means what? So on throwing a die, the probability of an event greater than 4 is what? Either it can come 5 or it can come 6. I hope you get this point. So this is an event of getting a number greater than 4. Now, what will be the let's say if I say I need to find a number less than, which is not greater than 4, which is greater than 4 is what? This is an event. And if I say I want a number which is not greater than 4, which is not greater than 4, and which is not greater than 4 means what? Either it is less than 4, right? So it is what? Less than 4 or equal to 4. Now the point here is, these both events will becomes what? Complementary events. Why? Event of getting a number greater than 4 or event of getting a number not greater than 4. These both, because this, let's say E is an event of getting a number greater than 4 and not E getting a number not greater than 4, or you can say less than 4, right? Same thing out there. So this is what becomes naughty, and these both are what? Complementary events. These both are what? Complementary events. Means whenever we have some event and we go towards that, not even. Naughty means if I say greater than 4, naughty means not greater than 4. That's the point out there. So these both events are what? Called complementary event. Means corresponding to every event there is a event naughty. Very, very obvious. Why? Here the event here is greater than 4. So not E means not greater than 4. That means less than 4 or equal to 4. Same thing got there. So this is always occur. No, it always occur. Because chances are for all. It can come 5, it can come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have take one event which is greater than 4. But what about the event for 1, 2 and 3, 4? That is nothing. That is not greater than 4. So this is not greater than 4 means it becomes what? If this is E, it becomes not E. Right? That's a point out here. So greater than 4 or less than equal to 4. That's a point out here. So they both are what? E and complementary events. I hope you get this point. So that's why they are mutually exclusive of each other. And very, very important points. If you are having one event and you are having a not E of that event, when we add both these events, it becomes what? 1. So P plus P not E, and one more very, very important. Not E is always represent. You can represent not E is like this also, like this. So I'll write like here, that is PE plus PE bar is equal to 1. So this is nothing, this is what? Not E. This is the mathematical representation of it. That means the sum of probabilities of the two complementary events is always equal to 1. Is always equal to 1. For every event, there is one complementary event. How? If I say an event greater than 4 in a die, then there must be an event which is less than 4, or you can say not greater than 4, because we have you use the word not. That means not E. Greater than 4 means E, then not greater than 4 means not E. So when not greater than 4 means it will becomes less than 4 equal to 4. That is very, very, very obvious, right? So if I say greater than 4, it will come 5 and 6. If I say not greater than 4, this is E, this is not E. Then that will come 1, 2, 3 or 4. Not greater than 4, not greater than 4 means it is less than equal to 4, the same thing out here. So event for every event there is a not E event also occur, right? And when we add all the probabilities of the complementary events, so so sum of probabilities of the two complementary events is always equal to 1. So sum of probabilities of complementary events is always equal to 1. That's a very, very important point. So these are the 3 important points which we have discussed, which are going to use in the questions also. One this, and one more important point on solving the question: probability always lies between 0 and 1, and sum of all the elementary events is 1. So I hope you get this point here, right? So these are the important concepts which we have discussed now, right? So if you have still having any difficulty, kindly pause the video, again watch it one time, two times. Definitely it's going to help you, right? Because I'm explaining in a very, very simple way. The more I'm explaining through various examples to you, so that it becomes very, very easy for you. Now let's start the questions here. Just now we have gone through naughty here, so let's come towards this very, very basic question for naughty only here, for the same concept which we have done now for complementary events. He says there is an event called probability of an event E is 0.05. What is the probability of not E? So just now we have gone through one basic formula. The sum of probabilities of all the complementary events is equal to 1. So if there is an event called E, and the complementary event of E is what? Not E means this. That is what? 1. That is what? 1. So this is what? Nothing. This is not E. This is not E. For P, it is given what? 0.05. 0.05. And we need to find not E. So P not E means what? 1 minus P. That means 1 minus 0.05. Right? So it becomes what? 0.95. 0.95 is your answer. Explain to you. Very, very simple. Just put one single formula and get it out. Right? So, and this formula is what? P plus P naught is equal to 1. And you need to write here sum of probabilities of all the complementary events is 1. So after applying this, write this and get your answer. Now we are going to a basic type of questions which are usually come in this probability. One question is of dice based type, or you can say die based type. You can also write a die. Normally in NCERT they have used the word die here. See, now we know that just now we have gone through so many examples. Die have 6 faces, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these are the 6 faces of a die. Now the question here is a die is thrown once. What is the probability of getting a prime number, right? Prime number. And so we are using so we need to find the probability of getting what? Prime number. So first of all, we know the formula for finding a probability is this: number of favorable outcomes and total number of outcomes. This is the formula. So first of all, decide an event. What is an event here? We need to find a probability of getting a prime number. This is the first event. So we need to find a probability of getting a prime number. First of all, find the total number of outcomes. Total number of outcomes means whenever you throw a die, you have 6 outcomes possible. So total number of outcomes are what? 6. Now you need to find the number of favorable outcomes to event E. Event E is what? The probability of getting a prime number. We know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are total outcomes possible here, prime numbers are what? 2, 3 and 5. So these are 3 prime numbers which are here 2, 3 and 5. So total number of favorable outcomes. Favorable means total number of prime numbers here are 3. So these are the favorable outcomes which is possible, which is favorable to this event E, because prime numbers are total how many? 3 are here. 2, 3 and 5. So total number of outcomes divided by total number of favorable outcomes, that is 3, divided by total number of outcomes, that is called 6. So when we solve this, we'll get 1 upon 2, or you can say 0.5. So this is the probability of first question, that is called a prime number here. So here I have already have some solutions here. You can check it out here. The next is we need to find a probability of getting a number lying between 2 and 6. Lying between 2 and 6. Right? So you can see out from here. Lying between 2 and 6. Again, we'll use this formula here. Now, he says, first of all, total number of outcomes we have to write again 6, because it can come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, in the above will come what? Number of favorable outcomes. So we need to find a number lying between 2 and 6. We know that between 2 and 6 there are 3, 4 and 5. So these are the 3 favorable outcomes. Divide by total number of outcomes. In this way we'll get a probability, right? So probability is again the same here, 0.5, 1 by 2. The next here is you need to find for an odd number. What is the probability of getting an odd number? So first formula is total number of outcomes is what? 6. Odd number. Here the odd numbers are 1, 3 and 5. So these are the 3 odd numbers. So number of favorable outcome is what? 3. Again the same number. Again the same probability. Right. So I hope you get this point. Very, very simple questions. Right. So first understand the concept, then apply it. If you understand the concept, it becomes so easy. Right. It is very scoring chapter. Now, next here is so this is a question here. A child has a die whose 6 faces shown in the letters are given. So again, a dice question is here. Now, I I have explained this question in a very detailed way here to dice. I want this question to be as a homework for you, right? But for your convenience, I have write the solution here. First, solve the question by yourself. I know you are not going to having any difficulty now because I have already explained it in a very simple way to every one of you. And first solve it by yourself. If you still find any difficulty, see the solution, and you can check the answers, right? So that's why I've written the solution here. Though for those persons who are having some difficulty in solving a question, then you can see the solution, right? So I hope you get this point. So this question is again homework for you. All the questions are from NCERT, right? So try it by yourself. This is a homework exercise for you. So try it yourself. For this exercise, for this exercise, I have already explained the solutions to you, right? Explain it. Now, next type of questions. So one question we have discussed for dice questions, right? So now we are having just 1 second. All right. Yeah. So just now we have discussed for the die questions here. Now we are going to discuss for another type of questions that is called balls questions based upon balls, marbles like this. Now, let us say here a bag contains 3 red balls and 5 black balls. 3 red balls and 5 black balls. There is one bag. So it contains 3 red balls. Let's say R1, R2, R3. Let's say these are the red balls. These are what? Red balls. And there are 5 black balls here. Let's say B1, B2, B3, B4, and B5. So these are 5 black balls here. These are 5 black balls here. A ball is drawn at random from the bag. So a ball is drawn. That means a single ball is drawn, right? They never say 2 balls are drawn, 3 balls are drawn. A single ball is drawn. Remember, right? So what is the probability that the ball drawn is red? That the ball drawn is red. So we know that formula of probability in denominator is what? Total number of outcomes, and numerator is what? Number of favorable outcomes. Favorable outcomes. So first of all, decide the total number of outcomes. We need to find the probability that the ball drawn is red. We know that, see, their total balls are how many? 3 red balls plus 5 black balls. So 3 plus 5 is what? 8. So these are total number of balls. We know that if we draw a ball from among these 8 balls, right? We know that a ball will come whenever we draw a ball from a bag, it will be draw from these 8 balls only, na? So these are the total 8. These are the total 8 outcomes can be possible. So total number of balls are what? 8. So in the denominator, what number will come? 8 will come. So we need to find the probability that the ball drawn is red. Now, what is probability of getting a ball drawn is red? How many red balls are here? The red balls are 3. So total number of favorite outcomes means the total number of red balls, right? These are favorite outcomes now because we need to find the probability that the ball drawn is red, and the red balls are how many? 3. So favorable outcome of getting a red ball is what? 3. And total number of outcomes are what? 8. Total number of outcome means the total number of balls we have. So among all these total balls, the red ball chances are this. So this is the probability of getting a red ball. I hope you get this point. So I have explained this solution to you. You can find this out here. And the next question we need to have is, what is the probability that the ball drawn is not red? That the ball drawn is not red. See, I'll explain this question to you in two ways. How? Just now we have gone through one concept called complementary events. This, right? In this complementary events, we get to know the sum of the complementary events, that is P plus P not E, is what? 1. We'll solve this question with the help of this complementary event also, right? It becomes very easy for you to understand the concept now. See how. We need to find the probability that the ball drawn is not red. That the ball drawn is not red. See, not, he says not red. We know that probability of complementary events is the probability of an event plus probability of a not E event is equal to 1, right? And we need to find for a not red. Just now we have find it for the red. So let's say the event here is red. And for red, just now we find is what? 3 by 8. This is the probability of getting a red ball from a bag. And probability of getting a not red. Not red means this naughty. This is red, this is not red. So we need to find this. Let us this like this. That is equal to 1. We know this, right? So if I take those here, I take this 3 by 8 on the RHS side, 1 minus 3 by 8. So if I solve this, I have it has 8 as LCM, that is 8 minus 3. It becomes what? 5 by 8. So 5 by 8 is my answer. 5 by 8 is my answer. So I can solve this question with the help of this complementary pair events also. Or you can also analyze like this. He says, what is the probability that the ball drawn is not red? Not red means what? There are only two types of balls here. One is a red ball, one is a black ball. So if I say non-red, that means what? It becomes black. If it is not red, then it is black only, na? Because there are only two types of balls here. So that means in indirect sense, they are asking for the probability that the ball drawn is black. The ball drawn is black. So it's very simple again here. Likewise, we have found we have find the probability for red. In the same sense, we can find the probability for black. How? Denominator, total number of outcomes. Total number of outcomes is what? 8, because total number of balls are what? 8. And the probability of getting a black ball is what? 5, because total number of black balls are what? 5. So answer is again what would become? 5 by 8. So I have solved this question in two ways, right? Same thing. Either I can think it in the form of not red means what? Black, same thing. Or else I can take this with the help of this particular formula, that the pair of complementary events is 1. I know about the event probability. I find it in the question number 1, 3 by 8. So I can also find naughty. So 3 by 8 plus naughty is equal to 1. So in this way I got for 5 by 8. I hope you get this. So hope you are able to understand this very well, right? So yes, this is again here. So in the same type questions, balls here. Now we have taken for this a bulb questions here. Yes, this is a bulb questions here. All right. Now here, let's find out here. This question also again I have taken from NCERT. Question here is, a lot of 20 bulbs contains 4 defective ones. One bulb is drawn at a random from the lot. What is the probability that the bulb is defective? That the bulb is defective. So this is the first question, right? And second question is this, right? Now You have a lot of, how many bulbs are there? 20 bulbs are there. Out of 20, 4 are what? Defective. So 4 are defective bulbs. First of all, you need to find the probability that this bulb is defective. This bulb is defective. And how to find the probability here? Denominator is what? Total number of outcomes. And numerator is what? Number of favorable outcomes. Favorable outcome. First, decide the total number of outcomes. So you need to find the probability that this bulb is defective. So total number of bulbs are what? 20. So 20 is what? Total number of outcomes. Now we need to find the probability that the bulb is defective. What is the total number of defective bulbs are there? 4 defective bulbs. So the probability favorable to this event is what? 4, because there are 4 defective bulbs. So this is 4 by 20. So out of this 20 bulbs, 4 are defective. So these are the favorable probability for getting the bulb is defective. This is the answer, 4 by 20, or you can solve as 1 by 5. 1 by 5 here means this 0.2, right? So I hope you get this point. This is for the first question. Second question, he says, suppose the bulb drawn in first. First means here this is the question number first, right? Suppose the bulb drawn in first is not defective. It is not defective. All right. And it is not replaced. And it is not replaced. Now, one bulb is drawn at a random from the rest. What is the probability that this bulb is not effective? Understand the question. He says, suppose the bulb drawn is in first is not defective and is not replaced Now he says here, let's say here, now you know that total number of bulbs are what? 20 here. Total number of bulbs are what? 20 here. Now, since one non-defective bulb is drawn here, right? This is one non-defective bulb is drawn. So total number of bulbs left is how many are there? That's 19. That's what 19 are here. That's what 19 are there. Because he says bulb drawn is not defective and is not replaced. So let's say out of 20 bulbs, he says I have taken one bulb which is not defective and it is not replaced. It is not replaced. So out of 20, one bulb has become less, that is 19. See, understand is like this. There are 20 bulbs earlier. In that 24 are defective bulbs and 16 are not defective, right? That's the point out here. No? He says the bulb drawn is not defective. He has taken out one bulb from this 20 bulbs, and when he has taken one bulb from this 20 bulb, and he says the bulb which I have taken from this, it is not defective bulb. Means he has not taken that bulb which is defective. He has taken that bulb which is not defective, and it is not going to replaced also, right? So I know that out of 20 bulb, one bulb has moved out. So total bulbs left is what? How many? 19. Now out of 19, 4 bulbs are still there which are defective, because the bulb which he has taken now, it is not defective bulb. So this is what? This is now 15 non-defective bulbs are still there. 15 non-defective bulbs are there. Earlier it was 16, one has taken out, so it becomes what? 16. So total bulbs are how many now? 19, and out of 19, 4 are defective, 15 are not defective. Now what do we need to find? We need to find what is the probability that this bulb is not defective. This bulb is not defective. Again, probability, how you have to find the probability? Probability is nothing. Total number of outcomes divided by number of favorable outcomes. So total number of outcomes is what? 19, because now the total bulbs left is what? 19. And defective bulbs is still is what? 4. Defective is what? Still is what? 4. Why? Because out of 19, 4 are only defective now. Earlier also 4, now also 4. I hope you get this point. A very simple question and very logical question. Now I believe you are able to get these type of questions, balls questions, right? So very easily here. I hope you'll not find difficulty now here. Now, next question here is the cards based questions. This is also a very repetitive type of questions which are come in exams here. Card based questions here. We all are aware of the cards here. We all are aware of the cards. There are total 52 cards, right? That's belong to number first 52. I'll break 26. These are black cards. 26 are called red cards, right? Black is there, red is there, right? Then we further classified into spade, diamond, hearts, right, etc. And I hope you are already aware of everything, right? So you are aware of the cards here. Now let us say here, sorry, just 1 second. Hmm. One card is drawn from a well shuffled deck of 52 cards. I'm not explaining about the cards here. I hope you are already aware of it. Yeah, because one card is drawn from a well shuffled deck of 52 cards. What is the probability of getting a king of red color? A king of red color. A king of red color. Now, see, understand one thing. Now, let's say here, now, let's say here, you need to find the again this formula probability is what? Number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes, right? Number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. So in the division is what? Total number of outcomes, and numerator is what? Favorable outcomes. Favorable outcomes. Clear? Now see. You need to find the total number of king of red color. What is the probability of getting a king of red color? See, you have 52 cards. Out of 52 cards, you have 26 red, 26 black. That is for sure. And this 26 is further classified into 13, 13, 13 pair 1, 13 pair 1, next 13, next 13. In every pair of 13, we have one king. So one king for this, one king for this, one king for this, and one king for this. Right now, we are only concerned with the red part. Why? He says we need to find the king of red color. Now, first of all, decide the total number of outcomes, because total number of outcomes is what we are getting. We need to find the probability of king of red color out of a well shuffled deck of 52 cards. So total number of cards are what? 52. So total number of outcomes is what? 52. Now favorable outcome means what? The outcome for the king of red color. We know that red color 26, and out of this red color 26 red color, we have two red color kings, because remaining two are what? Black color kings. These are not red colors, right? So favorable outcome is what? 2. So 2 is the favorable outcomes and 52 is the total outcomes. So when we will solve this, we'll get the answer. That is the probability of getting a king of red color. Now next here is the total number of face card. Total number of face cards here. And just 1 second. Yeah. So here we have total number of face cards. You know that there are face cards when we have in the cards here, this pairs, we know that, see this 13 cards, there are 4 pairs of 13 cards, right? I'll break the one pair. Out of 13 is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10 we have number. Then after that we have jack, we have king, we have queen, we have queen. These are the here. These are basically called what? Face cards. These are called face cards. So apart from these number cards, these are called face cards. J, K, and Q, right? So in every pair of 13 cards, we have three face cards, and we have 4 pair of 13 out of 52, right? This 52 is divided in 13, 13, 13 and 13, right? In each 13 pair, we have 3 face cards. 3 here, 3 here, 3 here. So total face cards are how many? 12 face cards. So we need to find the number of face cards, right? So in denominator is what? Total number of outcomes. Total number of outcome is what? Total number of cards, that is 52. And total number of face cards is what? 12. So 12, we just now we have find it 12 here. So this is the probability, 12 by 52. When we solve it further, 3 by 13, and that will come 0.23 when you solve it, right? The next here is we need to find a red face card. All right, no issue. We need to find the red face card. Again, very simple. We know that total number of outcome is what? 52. Now we need to find the favorable outcome for the red face card. We know that the red cards are how much? 26. Because out of 52, 26 red and 26 black are here. And 26 means this 13 and 13, 2 pairs are here. In each 13 pair, we have 3 face cards. So total number of face cards is what? 6 here. Because there are total 12 face cards. So 12 face card means what? 6 for the red side, 6 for the black side. I hope you get this point, right? So this is for the red face card. So probability is 6 by 52. On cancel out, when you cancel this, you have 3 by 26, and on solving, you'll get 0.11. So this is on the basis of this first 3 questions. I hope you are able to get this very easily. And okay, so just apply the formula, and get your answer in a very simple way. I have explained this first 3 questions for you. Now this is your homework. You need to solve next 3 questions by yourself in the same shuffled cards here, same deck shuffle cards here. That's the point, right? So I hope you will not find this any difficulty, because I've explained the solutions to you, right? If you face any difficulty, see the solution and get your answer. But first, try to solve by yourself, and I'm believing that you are able to solve it by yourself very comfortably. There is no, you don't find it any difficult here. But still, if you find difficulty, see the solutions. I have already explained it on the slides for you, right? So I've explained it on the slides for you. These are the solutions. Pause the video and see the solutions. That's it, right? So this is all about the chapter here. This is the end for it. So fine. So thank you so much, and just study well, right? So look forward to see you in the next chapter, right? Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day.